My name is Trenton, and I'm here today to talk about the psychological benefits of martial arts. Now, when I say the word martial artist, you probably have one of two stereotypes. The first one is this spiritual, meditating man that has his head in the clouds that really has no concept of the real world. And the second one is probably this guy. Now, what I'm here to tell you today is that a true martial artist is a combination of both of these things, and it's actually psychologically and socially beneficial to be this type of person. So in a bit of background, martial arts is such a huge part of my life. My parents own a martial arts academy back in my hometown. My little sister learned how to walk on the dojo floor. I'm actually pretty sure they're watching this live stream right now, so shout out mom and dad. And basically, a common occurrence in my childhood was my dad calling me downstairs from my room and saying like, hey, let me try this on you. So as I came into science and came into psychology, I started to become a little bit skeptical. I started to think of all these different claims that martial arts schools will make. Things like, we build confidence, we make people nicer, and because of that, I wanted to make sure that these things were actually scientifically supported. Good news is, we're not crazy, and being a martial artist is actually beneficial. You know, you would think intuitively that teaching somebody how to punch and kick in this pseudo-aggressive way would actually give them more tools to release their aggression and be more aggressive. But we actually find the contrary. A key part of a martial artist's personality is their desire for peaceful conflict resolution. So because of the confidence that they build, they look for calm ways and nice ways to solve problems. And we find traits like self-regulation and positive social interactions will improve the longer somebody is in martial arts training. Especially in the case of children, we find that the environment is really beneficial with how somebody develops their personality and how they behave. Nobody wants to be yelled at by sensei or their teacher in class because they're being aggressive or they're not being nice to people around them or they have this negative attitude. Because being yelled at obviously is pretty embarrassing and flustering. And because of that, we actually see that the environment, the martial arts environment, will encourage children to take in these personality traits of positivity and calmness and peaceful conflict resolution and incorporate that into their own personality. If we think back to the classic experiment from Bandura, the Bobo doll experiment, what they did with children was they allowed children to watch this demonstrator play with a Bobo doll. The Bobo doll was either played with in like a positive way, like they would pick it up and like rock it around like a baby, so fun, or they would be aggressive toward it, like they would punch and kick it, which is also pretty fun. But regardless, after the children watched this demonstrator play with the toy in one way or the other, they would give the children the opportunity to play with the doll as well. When the children had their own opportunity to play with the doll, they were much more likely to imitate exactly what they had seen from the demonstrator. So if the demonstrator had played with the doll aggressively and punched and kicked it, that's exactly what the kid would do. Now again, in terms of martial arts, you would think that exposing children to this would actually make them imitate the behavior and punch and kick, but we actually find the opposite as well. An instructor sets a standard for their students which contrasts against a negative attitude. So if somebody comes into the martial arts world with a negative attitude or an aggressive approach to the world, they actually succumb to something called normative pressure. And normative pressure is basically the fear of rejection and the fear of not fitting in. So when somebody walks in with a negative attitude, they immediately feel out of place. And because of this, they start to mimic the people around them. They see that everybody around them is working together, they're being positive, and their own attitude begins to change. They incorporate the positive and peaceful conflict resolution ideas of the martial arts world and bring that into their own personality and carry that with them into the real world. And because of this, martial artists have this weird duality of personalities. The first one is positive self-concept. We're happy with ourselves, we're good, we're always satisfied with the way that we are, and we carry this sense of safety and confidence throughout the world. But also, we have this strange, weird desire to do better all of the time. And the combination of these personalities actually makes us contrast with a lot of different athletes. Think of like the typical hockey guy or the football bro or whatever stereotype of an athlete that you have. We contrast with this type of person because we don't feel like we need to prove ourselves to everybody all of the time. Martial artists learn that it's okay to be confident, but it's not okay to have an ego and it's not okay to be hostile towards other people. And that is one thing that I've really learned throughout martial arts is that it's possible to go through challenges and be confident, but you don't have to prove yourself and be tougher than everybody else. The personality traits taught to me and to everybody through the martial arts make you don't want to go into people, to approach people aggressively and in a hostile way. They make you want to be nice to them. They make you want to approach things and look for conflict resolutions that's outside of the realm of fighting. When we're talking about kids, we think of all of these sports that kids are introduced to through the school curriculum. We have things like basketball and volleyball, and I think even wrestling is part of the school curriculum now. What I wonder is why something that is so beneficial and obviously scientifically proven isn't part of our school curriculum as well. We actually find that when at least one member of a family is involved in martial arts, within the family, their interactions actually improve. Their family concept and their positivity within the family improves. There's an old saying in the martial arts lore that says, "A family that kicks together sticks together." Now, if we were to make the entire world a family that kicks together, that would be an amazing feat, but it really starts with how we teach our children to approach the world. Bringing them into martial arts training allows them to develop peaceful conflict resolution strategies and allows them to be nicer people overall. Thank you.